Hello friends, this is Rushabh here. I'm the founder and CEO of Frappe, and we are the publishers and creators of ERPNext. In this video, I'll talk to you about how ERPNext got created and what is the backstory behind ERPNext and Frappe framework. A quick introduction about me. I am a software developer. I started writing code in the 90s in Visual Basic and GW Basic as I was growing up, and the platforms at that time were popular were DOS and Windows. So there are three important events that happened around the time I was graduating that really formed the basics of what ERPNext is today. So let me just walk you through them. So the first event was I got introduced to something called semantic web. So what is semantic web? You would have probably not heard of it because it was a fad in the early 2000s. The semantic web was essentially an internet where along with web pages, we will also publish metadata about these web pages. So what is metadata? So metadata is simply data about data. For example, if you have an image, the image itself is the data, but you have other information about the image, like when it was taken, where it was taken. All of that is metadata. And metadata really helps us to classify, analyze, and search information in a much better way. The vision behind semantic web was that if we publish enough metadata, then the internet will become a much deeper tool. Like you could classify, search, connect information, and build inferences on the internet too. But alas, that vision never really took off for various reasons, Facebook being one of them. But let's not get into that. So what is important here is this concept of metadata, and this is something we used when we built ERPNext. The second event was that I got introduced to free and open source software. Like I said, I used to write code on Microsoft platforms. Then when I was in grad school, I got a job to work on a project in Java. So Java was free, but I never really liked Java because it's verbose and the developer tooling is really clunky. But I spent a year writing Java code, building a GUI application on it. Then somebody introduced me to Python. And Python, after Java, was a breath of fresh air. It was love at first sight for me when I looked at Python because I came from a background of basic. So Python was free and open source. And this was really new to me. This is the first time I got exposed to free and open source software. Python is supported by a large community. And what I found was that Python was not only good or better than Visual Basic or Java, it had all the features I needed. It instantly struck me that if I have to write software today, I have to write it in Python. It also told me that any software written in today's age should be open source, not because of ideological reasons, but for practical reasons. That if you build software as a community, it has a lot more depth and breadth and longevity than if you would build as your own proprietary offering. So let me quickly come to the third event. The third event was that after I graduated, I started helping my family business, and at that time they were implementing an ERP system. It was a custom homegrown ERP that the vendor was trying to implement and really failing. The basic use case for us was that the sales office and the factory were 2 hours away, and they used to transport physical files from the sales office to the factory. And I saw an opportunity to create a simple online system where the sales team could just upload the sales information, and then the factory team could just access it online. And this was basically what we have right now is a sales order, and this was the beginning of what ERPNext is. And as I showed you, right, I was really influenced by this idea of metadata. So the system that we built was metadata aware. Whatever objects that we stored in the ERP system, whether it was a customer, a sales order, a product, all had metadata. And the way we built the system was that using the metadata, we created a set of standard modules to list, search, classify, edit, create these objects. And this collection of metadata manager became what is now called the Frappe framework. And this is really what is the power behind ERPNext. And like I said, I also was introduced to free and open source software, and it really made sense for us at that point to put our code out there on GitHub, initially on Google Code and then on GitHub, way back in 2009 itself. And so that has been the journey for us. We built a metadata driven ERP system that is free and open source, and that is the real reason why it is a very popular software today. Thanks for listening in, and do share your comments and feedback. Thanks.